But you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock
Okay, damn.
I'm at a point in my life like we all grew up in the streets and we try to be better, but
bothering me is that being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, you know, bullshit sometimes, and, you know, that's the only thing that I hate about it.
And when I say people respond, how people respond to things matter, like the internet will take to it and just go off with it. Meek responds being the uncomfortability. He goes, yo, nah, I'm gonna spend $100,000 to find out why my name is in this like this. And it's in it only because he's uncomfortable. You don't hear him talking about French. French was right there.
This didn't slide onto the internet, it kicked the door off the hinges. Because when rumors started flying that 50 Cent and Jaguar Wright allegedly leaked recordings tied to DL rapper industry secrets. Timelines froze, group chats exploded, and everybody suddenly pretended they don't gossip for sport. This wasn't just tea. This was a boiling pot dumped straight onto hip-hop's cleanest carpets. Nobody even pressed play yet. And careers were already sweating. Screenshots started circulating. Voices were being identified. Suddenly, the same industry that sells controversy like merch was screaming about privacy. Funny how that works. It's 1 minute people laugh at rumors. The next minute, they're panicking like subpoenas just dropped. And let's be clear, when 50 Cent is allegedly connected to anything messy, it's never accidental. That man doesn't sneeze without strategy. Add Jaguar Wright, the industry's most unapologetic truth grenade. And now you've got a combination that makes the Kardashians look like they sign NDAs for fun. Nobody knows what's real yet. Nobody knows what's fake. But everyone's reacting like something dangerous just slipped out. Silence turns suspicious. Jokes turn defensive. And the loudest voices suddenly went mute. Because in hip-hop, secrets don't scare people. Confirmation does. End whatever this is. It's already doing damage before anyone starts clutching pearls or filing imaginary lawsuits in the comments. Let's get something straight from the jump. This story lives in the land of allegations. Rumors, reactions, and internet chaos. No court filings, no verified drops. Just a combustible mix of names, whispers, and timing, so wild it felt intentional. And that's exactly why it exploded the way it did. Because when the internet even suggests that 50 Cent and Jaguar Wright are connected to leaked recordings tied to so-called industry secrets, the culture doesn't ask for confirmation, it reaches for popcorn. This wasn't about proof, it was about panic energy. The kind that spreads before anyone presses play. Because the implication alone does the damage. Let's start with the players. 50 Cent has never been a passive bystander in hip-hop drama. He's a strategist disguised as a troll, a man who treats controversy like a chessboard and Instagram like a flamethrower. He doesn't leak things accidentally. He doesn't comment without calculation. So the moment his name was even loosely attached to anything labeled recordings, people assumed two things immediately. If this is real, it's deliberate, and if it's deliberate, somebody's uncomfortable already. Then there's Jaguar, right? Jaguar doesn't whisper, she doesn't tease, she declares. For years, she's positioned herself as the industry's human truth serum, exposing, accusing, and narrating alleged behind-the-scenes behavior with zero fear of backlash. Some people call her brave, others call her reckless. Either way, when Jaguar starts talking, the internet leans in, because she doesn't care who gets mad. Now combine those two names in one sentence. Sprinkle in the phrase leaked recordings, and attach the most sensitive label hip-hop culture refuses to discuss openly. And boom, you've got a digital wildfire. At first, the rumors were vague, intentionally vague. No clear audio, no names confirmed. Just enough suggestion to make people uncomfortable. That's how these stories spread. Not with evidence, with implication. Screenshots of DMs claiming someone heard something. Posts saying, "Wait till y'all hear this." Reaction videos reacting to reactions that didn't exist yet. And that's when the internet started acting guilty. People who had nothing to do with anything suddenly became defensive. Others started preemptively denying things. No one accused them of jokes flew, but they landed nervous. The energy felt like a room where someone mentioned a word they weren't supposed to say out loud, because the controversy wasn't really about recordings, it was about exposure. Hip-hop has always marketed hypermasculinity like a brand logo: toughness, dominance, image control. So the idea, again, alleged that private conversations or recordings could challenge public personas, hit a cultural nerve. The fear wasn't legality, was narrative collapse. First reactions were predictable and chaotic, fans argued, over whether this was messy or necessary. Critics accused everyone involved of clout chasing. Supporters said the industry deserves transparency. Meanwhile, nobody could answer the simplest question: what exactly leaked? And that ambiguity made it worse, because once people can't verify something, they project. They fill in blanks with imagination. And imagination in celebrity culture is ruthless. Names trended for no official reason. Silence got interpreted as confirmation. Laughter got labeled as deflection. Every response or lack of response became part of the story. 50 Cent didn't rush to explain anything. Okay, and that was loud. When someone known for trolling doesn't troll, people get suspicious. His silence didn't calm anything. It made everyone assume he was watching the chaos like a producer reviewing dailies. Whether that's true or not didn't matter. Perception became reality. Jaguar Wright, meanwhile, didn't exactly retreat. Her reputation alone fueled speculation. People replayed old interviews, hunting for patterns. Past accusations resurfaced. A Tuxedo disappeared. Everything became connected, whether it actually was or not. That's how internet investigations work: conclusions first, logic later. The sarcasm online was brutal. Memes joked about industry secrets season finale. Others said hip-hop was one leak away from turning into reality TV with lawyers. Some laughed it off as recycled gossip. Others warned that even false allegations can destroy careers. Both sides were right, and neither side slowed the story down. What really escalated things was how fast defensive energy spread. Artists started posting vague messages about privacy, respect, and not believing everything you hear. Nobody named names. Nobody clarified specifics, but everyone felt the need to say something. And when too many people speak without being accused, it makes the room uncomfortable. Because the truth is, the rumor itself didn't accuse anyone directly. The reaction did. That's the dangerous part of modern scandal culture. You don't need facts to cause fallout. You just need implication, timing, and the right names. And this situation had all three by the end of this phase. One thing was undeniable. Whether the recordings were real, fake, exaggerated, or non-existent, the damage had already begun. Conversations shifted, trust wobbled, and the industry's carefully curated image took another hit. This wasn't about outing anyone. It wasn't about proof. It was about fear of being talked about next on. And if this was only the opening act, then what followed wouldn't be quieter. It would be louder, messier, and way harder to control. By the time the rumor hit full velocity, the story wasn't even pretending to be about recordings anymore. It was about reaction pressure. The kind that bends spines, snaps friendships, and turns timelines into minefields. Nobody needed names. Nobody needed audio. The idea alone was enough to send shockwaves through an industry built on image, control, and selective silence. The memes got sharper, darker, and way more uncomfortable. Not funny haha memes, nervous laughter memes, the kind people share and then immediately explain why they're just joking. Timelines filled with captions like "Hip Hop needs a PR team and this season's plot twist is wild." Pop culture comparisons flew everywhere. People said this felt like a prestige drama, where every episode ends with a cliffhanger and a lawsuit teaser. Others joked that this was hip-hop's version of a reality show reunion nobody asked for, but everyone would secretly watch. And then the reactions started rolling in, not statements, not denials, but vibes. Artists posted inspirational quotes about truth, privacy, and living your authentic life with no context whatsoever. Podcasts tiptoed around the topic like it was a sleeping bear. Influencers spoke in riddles, dropping 10-minute videos that said everything except anything. It was a masterclass in saying words without making claims. And the audience noticed what made this phase combustible wasn't outrage alone. It was inconsistency. The same industry that thrives on messy narratives suddenly wanted boundaries. The same platforms that profit from speculation wanted restraint. And the internet, being allergic to hypocrisy, did what it does best, called it out loudly. 50 Cent's name continued to hover like a storm cloud. Even without direct involvement being confirmed, people analyzed his past moves, his love for trolling, his habit of letting chaos simmer. Some argued that if he wanted to shut this down, he would have by now. Others said assuming intent without evidence was exactly the problem. Both sides argued like they were on payroll. Jaguar Wright's presence intensified everything without adding specifics. Her reputation alone functioned like a pressure valve. Every time her name trended, old clips resurfaced. Old accusations got replayed. Context collapsed. The internet treated history like prophecy, assuming past controversy automatically validated present rumor. That's the danger of becoming known as a whistleblower. Everything you say gets treated like evidence even when it's commentary. Public outrage peaked when conversations drifted into morality debates. Not about truth, about what should be discussed at all. Some argued that the industry's obsession with image deserved exposure. Others pushed back hard, saying speculation about private lives, real or imagined, was harmful, regardless of intent. That argument split the audience right down the middle, and neither side was willing to budge. And here's where things got even messier. Nobody could agree on what the scandal actually was. Was it about leaks? Was it about hypocrisy? Was it about privacy? Was it about power? Depending on who you asked, the answer changed every 5 minutes. And that confusion kept the story alive. Because unresolved narratives don't die, they metastasize. Brands and media outlets moved carefully. Headlines got padded with allegedly, reportedly, and unconfirmed. Lawyers were probably pacing somewhere. Publicists earned, over time. Because the risk wasn't just legal, it was reputational. Associating with the wrong interpretation could turn into backlash overnight. Meanwhile, fans did what fans always do, projected. People read meaning into silence. They read denial into jokes. They read guilt into inspirational captions. The internet became a courtroom where evidence didn't matter. Interpretation did. The wildest twist of this phase was how fast the conversation turned meta. Instead of arguing about the rumor, people argued about why the rumor spread so easily. They questioned why certain topics still feel explosive in 2026. They questioned why an industry that sells authenticity panics at the idea of complexity. Those questions didn't trend as long, but they hit harder by the end of this stage. The outrage wasn't screaming anymore, it was simmering. The initial shock had faded, replaced by something more dangerous: normalization. People started shrugging. Another industry scandal, another week. That numbness is where real damage sets in, because it allows rumors to linger without resolution, and through it all, no concrete evidence emerged, no verified recordings, no official statements tying names to claims. It's just reactions reacting to reactions. A hall of mirrors built entirely out of speculation. But here's the thing: speculation doesn't need proof to leave scars. Relationships strained, trust eroded. The industry's public image took another hit, and the audience learned something uncomfortable about itself. It didn't need facts to stay entertained by the time the noise dipped. The question wasn't, is this real? Anymore, it was who's next. 'Cause once fear replaces curiosity, the story stops being about one rumor and becomes about survival. And in an industry fueled by perception, survival instincts make people do strange things, which meant the fallout wouldn't arrive with headlines. It would arrive quietly in distance, silence, consequences no meme could fix. This is the moment where the laughter thins out and the consequences start whispering, not screaming. Whispering. Because once the timeline gets bored and the memes stop refreshing, what's left behind is a residue, mistrust, paranoia, and reputational damage that doesn't care whether anything was ever proven. And that's the part nobody can laugh off. The aftermath didn't arrive with press releases or dramatic denials. It arrived quietly. People stopped tagging each other. Collaborations cooled without explanation. Invitations that once came automatically started getting rescheduled. In an industry where proximity is currency, distance is punishment. And distance spread fast. For artists whose names even brushed against the rumor cloud, the shift was immediate. Not canceled, just questioned. Not accused, just watched. Every interview answer felt rehearsed. Every public appearance felt measured. When you can't disprove a rumor because there's nothing concrete to disprove, you're stuck shadowboxing perception. And perception always lands punches first. 0.50. Sen's position in the fallout was exactly where he thrives, untouchable but omnipresent. Whether involved or not, his association with chaos kept his name circulating without consequence. The paradox of power in entertainment. The bigger the brand, the less damage rumors do. Controversy becomes texture, not threat. People argued about his intent, but nobody doubted his influence. If anything, the situation reinforced what everyone already knew. He knows how to let storms pass without getting wet. Jaguar Wright's role became more polarizing than ever. Supporters framed her as someone exposing uncomfortable truths. People don't want to confront? Critics doubled down, accusing her of blurring lines between commentary and accusation. And that tension followed her wherever her name appeared. The aftermath didn't silence her, it amplified scrutiny. Every word became a test. Every pause became suspicious. That's the price of positioning yourself as a truth teller in a culture addicted to receipts. The industry itself took the biggest hit, not legally, but culturally. This situation exposed how fragile the image economy really is. How much energy gets spent maintaining personas instead of protecting people. How quickly outrage gets redirected into entertainment. And how easily speculation becomes accepted. Reality when it confirms existing biases. Public perception didn't land on one conclusion. It fractured. Some people walked away convinced there was more hiding beneath the surface. Others dismissed the entire episode as exaggerated internet theater. Most landed somewhere in the middle, uncertain, uneasy, and already halfway distracted by the next headline. That's how scandals survive without answers. They don't need belief. They just need memory. What lingered longest was fear, not of exposure, but of implication. Artists became cautious about who they stood next to, what they joked about, what they shared. The culture didn't get quieter. It got guarded, okay? And guarded spaces breed rumors faster than open ones. When everyone is watching their step, people assume there's something to trip over. This episode also revealed a brutal truth about modern celebrity. Allegation culture doesn't require confirmation to function. It thrives on suggestion, timing, and reaction. The fact that nothing concrete ever surfaced didn't absolve anyone. It just ensured the story could never be fully closed. An unresolved narrative is the internet's favorite kind. For fans, the aftermath felt anticlimactic but unsettling. No bombshell, no smoking gun. Just the realization that speculation alone can rattle an entire industry. That realization sticks. It changes how people consume stories, makes them suspicious of silence and skeptical of statements. And once that switch flips, it doesn't flip back easily. The most shocking clarity came from what didn't happen. No mass lawsuits, no definitive debunks, no clear villain. That absence was the ending, because it showed how much damage can be done without a single verified file ever seeing daylight. Reputation erosion doesn't need evidence, it needs repetition. And the curiosity didn't disappear. It went dormant, waiting for the next interview clip, the next cryptic comment, the next time two names appear in the same sentence. That's how these stories survive. They don't resolve, they hibernate. In the end, this wasn't about recordings. It wasn't about secrets. It wasn't even about the people named Dot. It was about power, who controls narrative, who survives implication, and who gets burned by association. It was about an industry that profits from mystery but panics when mystery turns inward. And the most uncomfortable takeaway of all, nothing had to be proven for everything to feel different afterward. Because once a rumor teaches people how to be afraid, it doesn't need to come back loud. It just needs to exist. And in hip-hop, where perception is currency, existence is enough. All right, before this timeline scrolls away and pretends it didn't just sweat for 30 minutes straight. Let's talk. Because if you're still here, you weren't just entertained, you were processing something the industry hates to process. And that's exactly where the real conversation starts. So drop your take in the comments and don't dance around it. Was this situation overdue accountability, reckless rumor culture, or another example of the internet turning whispers into weapons? Do you think silence protected people or exposed them? Say it loud, say it smart, and say it like you know. The comment section is undefeated. If this breakdown made you pause, rewind, or side-eye your screen, smash that like button like it owes you money and keeps dodging the bill. Hit it like the algorithm tried to bury the conversation. Likes tell the platform one thing very clearly. We're not scared of uncomfortable topics. We just want them handled without nonsense. And if you're new here, stop lurking like an industry insider with a burner account and subscribe. This is where rumors get dissected, narratives get stress tested, and chaos gets broken down without PR filters or fake outrage. No spoon feeding, no panic posting. It's just sharp analysis with a sarcastic edge. Turn on notifications because stories like this don't end, they evolve. Today, it's reactions. Tomorrow, it's distancing. Next week, it's I always knew something was off. And when that happens, Secret Scoop is already watching the shift. Remember this, receipts don't always drop, but pressure always leaves. Mark Stott, this is Secret Scoop, where industry whispers meet daylight, and silence never gets the last word. The last word.